What if a simple habit you've carried quietly for decades could either shield your prostate from harm or slowly, silently wear it down without you realizing? Imagine discovering that something you've done since youth, something private, familiar, even comforting, might hold the power to extend your health, sharpen your mind, and protect your masculinity well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. That's not a scare tactic. It's a truth too many men overlook. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, and after more than 30 years of caring for men in their later years, I've seen how daily masturbation after 60 can create changes, sometimes protective, sometimes harmful, that ripple through every corner of a man's health. And today, I want to speak with you plainly about what the science reveals, how your prostate reacts, and the small adjustments that can make all the difference. This is not about judgment, it's not about shame, and it's certainly not about pornography. This is about real medicine, real aging, and real ways to keep your vitality alive. Let's start with something most men never think about: technique. Many older men approach self-pleasure exactly as they did at 20. Same grip, same rhythm, same quick finish. But after decades, that repetition conditions your nervous system in ways you may not realize. It's like wearing the same pair of shoes every day for 40 years. They mold so tightly to your foot that any other pair feels wrong. For your nerves, that comfort can quietly become a trap. Medical studies, including one from the Journal of Sexual Medicine, reveal that overly tight grips or rushed stimulation can increase the risk of delayed ejaculation and erectile dysfunction. At 60 and beyond, this doesn't just affect performance, it affects nerve health. Those nerves aren't just about pleasure. They also control bladder function, bowel regulation, and even lower back stability. When overstressed, they weaken. The result? Subtle leaks when you laugh or sneeze, unexplained pelvic pain, stiffness in your lower back, all creeping in without you linking them to what you do in private. But here's the good news. You don't need to stop. You need to retrain. Slow down. Vary your pace. Loosen your grip. Allow yourself to notice sensations instead of racing to the end. Think of it like cross-training. Just as your muscles stay healthier when you mix up exercise, your nervous system stays adaptable when you change how you stimulate it. I've seen men like George, 71, rediscover sensitivity they thought was gone forever by simply being gentler and more mindful. Within weeks, his pelvic discomfort eased, and he laughed, telling me, "Doc, I didn't know slowing down could feel like speeding up." Now, let's talk about frequency. Here's where the science surprises almost everyone. Many assume less is better with age, or that abstaining altogether is healthier. But research proves otherwise. A landmark Harvard study followed more than 29,000 men for 18 years. Those who ejaculated 21 times or more each month had a 33% lower risk of prostate cancer than those who ejaculated only 4 to 7 times. Why? Because the prostate is a gland that produces fluid. And when that fluid stagnates, it creates the perfect breeding ground for inflammation and bacteria. Regular ejaculation keeps the gland flushed, reduces congestion, and lowers inflammation. It's the same principle as blood flow. Just as exercise prevents clots, release prevents stagnation. Interestingly, this benefit was strongest with masturbation rather than intercourse. Solo activity allows for complete emptying of the gland without introducing bacteria that can sometimes occur with a partner. So, what's the sweet spot? There isn't one perfect number. but science suggests aiming for 4 to 5 times per week as a healthy rhythm for most men over 60. Think of it not as indulgence, but as preventive care for one of the most delicate organs in your body. And yet, prostate health isn't the only reason to stay sexually active. Testosterone, that quiet fuel for your muscles, bones, and even your heart, responds directly to your sexual habits. Most men believe decline is inevitable, but it isn't entirely so. Sexual activity, including masturbation, stimulates the brain's pituitary gland to release luteinizing hormone, which signals the testicles to keep producing testosterone. Without that signaling, levels plummet faster. A study from the University of Pennsylvania found that older men who remained sexually active at least twice a week had testosterone levels comparable to men 15 years younger. That's not just bedroom function, that's sharper memory, stronger bones, and lower risk of heart disease. In fact, the Mayo Clinic notes that men with low testosterone face double the risk of dying from any cause compared to those with normal levels. In my practice, I've seen men raise their testosterone by up to 30% in just 2 months, not through pills, but by combining mindful sexual activity with better sleep, reduced stress, and nutrient-rich diets. Frank, a retired teacher at 69, once told me he felt like he had a new engine under his hood after sticking to a regular, balanced routine. He wasn't chasing youth, he was sustaining vitality. And that's what this is really about. But beyond the science of glands and hormones lies something deeper, how you feel about this part of yourself. Too many men over 60 carry shame about masturbation, shaped by old cultural or religious messages. Shame isn't harmless, it's toxic. The National Institute of Mental Health reports that men who suppress normal sexual expression due to shame face higher risks of depression, anxiety, and isolation. And loneliness, my friends, can be deadlier than cigarettes. When you let go of that guilt, reconnect with your body, and give yourself permission to enjoy it, measurable changes happen. Blood pressure drops, sleep deepens, mood steadies, clarity returns. I've watched this countless times. Walter, 74, once whispered that after releasing decades of guilt, he felt lighter, younger, freer. That was his healing, not just physical, but emotional. Of course, not all habits are safe. One of the most underestimated threats to older men's sexual health today is pornography. While it seems harmless, chronic use rewires the brain's reward system in ways disturbingly similar to drugs. Studies from Cambridge University show that men over 60 who consume porn regularly face faster declines in memory and decision-making. Why? Because porn floods the brain with dopamine at levels 2 to 4 times higher than natural intimacy. Over time, your brain adapts by dulling sensitivity. Real-world touch feels less satisfying. Erections fade. Intimacy becomes a shadow of what it once was. The Alzheimer's Association even warns that this overstimulation may accelerate neurodegenerative disease. Brain scans of heavy porn users often resemble early Alzheimer's patients. Less gray matter, weaker neural connections. That's not just about sex, that's about independence, your ability to think clearly, remember names, make choices. The solution is simple but powerful. Limit or eliminate porn. Instead, engage your imagination, your memory, your senses. Let reality be enough. Your brain will thank you, and so will your body. And this brings us to something most men never expect: sexual isolation. Not just being single, but losing connection to your own body. When you stop engaging with sexuality altogether, your body interprets it as reproduction being finished. It begins reallocating resources away from sexual, hormonal, and immune functions. Harvard's 80-year adult development study found that men who remained sexually active lived longer, thought more clearly, and bounced back emotionally after stress far better than those who withdrew. When the connection breaks, testosterone plunges, immunity weakens, inflammation rises, and aging accelerates. The consequences show up quietly. Energy drains, muscles shrink, bones weaken, mood grows unstable. Inflammation creeps higher each year, setting the stage for heart disease, diabetes, dementia. But the most heartbreaking decline is emotional disconnection from yourself. Men describe it as feeling hollow, less human, invisible. The spark of aliveness dims. That's not just aging, that's avoidable loss. The solution doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. Courage to reclaim intimacy with yourself without shame, without rushing, without numbing it with screens. Gentle, mindful self-touch, allowing your body to respond naturally. That's not indulgence, it's survival. It's a signal to your brain and body. Life is still happening here, and it's worth protecting. So let's bring this together into something you can truly use. First, avoid mechanical habits that desensitize your nerves. Vary your pace, your grip, your rhythm. Treat each moment as exploration, not just a finish line. Your nervous system stays alive when you keep it flexible. Second, don't assume abstinence is healthier. The research is clear. Men who release more regularly, around 21 times per month, reduce their risk of prostate cancer by nearly a third. This isn't indulgence. This is preventive health, as important as brushing your teeth or taking a walk. Third, understand that sexual activity boosts testosterone, the very hormone protecting your muscles, bones, heart, and brain. When you keep this part of your life active, you're protecting your future independence. Fourth, release the shame. Guilt robs your body of balance and keeps you locked in silence. When you see masturbation as a normal, healthy expression, your sleep improves, your stress eases, and your mind clears. Fifth, limit pornography. Replace artificial overstimulation with real sensation, imagination, or memory. It restores your brain's natural wiring, keeping both intimacy and cognition sharp. And sixth, avoid sexual isolation. Even if you're not with a partner, staying connected to your body through gentle, mindful self-pleasure signals your biology that life is still in full swing. That simple signal keeps your immune system stronger, inflammation lower, and energy more resilient. Your sexual health is not a side note, it's a central pillar of your overall well-being. It impacts your heart, your brain, your hormones, and your emotional balance. Protecting it means protecting your entire future. If you've been avoiding this conversation, or if you've quietly assumed this part of life no longer matters, let this be your moment to reconsider. Because when you nurture this part of yourself, you're not just choosing pleasure. You're choosing life, longer, stronger, and more connected. I want you to picture the ripple effect. When your energy rises, when your prostate feels healthier, when intimacy feels natural again, everything else shifts. You carry yourself with quiet confidence. You sleep more deeply. You laugh more easily. You look your partner in the eyes without hesitation. You say yes to life again, in small ways, in big ways, in ways you never thought possible after 60. That's the real gift of reclaiming this habit mindfully. Not just stronger erections, but stronger mornings, stronger connections, stronger joy. So where do you begin? Start small. Tonight or tomorrow, approach yourself differently. Slow down, breathe. Pay attention to sensation rather than speed. Choose presence instead of performance, and if it's been weeks or months, don't rush to make up for lost time. Allow your body to remember gently, patiently. Think of it as tuning an instrument, delicate, steady, building harmony again. And remember, your age is not a barrier. David at 72 thought his intimacy was over. He carried guilt and silence for years. When he finally let go of that shame and rebuilt his routine with mindful practice, he told me he felt like a curtain lifted, life returned to color. George at 68 stopped relying on pornography and rediscovered his imagination, which not only restored his sensitivity, but also deepened his conversations with his wife. Harold at 75, who hadn't felt desire in years, started gently reconnecting once a week at first. Within months, he walked taller, smiled wider, and said, "Doc, I feel like myself again." These aren't rare miracles. They're ordinary men who simply chose to reconnect with their bodies. Now, let me ask you, which step will you begin with? Will you adjust your technique? Will you release the guilt that's been holding you back? Will you set aside the screen and let your imagination guide you? Whatever you choose, know this: you're not just preserving sexual health, you're preserving vitality, confidence, and life itself. I want you to hold this truth close. Aging doesn't mean fading, it means adapting. And when you adapt wisely, with courage, with gentleness, with respect for your body, you don't just survive, you thrive. This is Dr. Maya Kapoor, and if this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you'd like more gentle guidance, please subscribe so we can keep walking this journey together. And if you know a friend who might need these words, share this video with them. You never know how much it could mean.